Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really unique philosophical text by Feng. It intricately connects this deeply spiritual concept, what he calls perfect human nature, with a very strict, basically life or death reverence for the natural world. So if you've ever wondered exactly how spiritual philosophy might intersect with radical environmentalism, well, let's just step right through it together.
Okay, let's dive into this outline. We're going to start with the perfect human nature, move right into nature as a gift, explore humanity's destructive hubris, and then finish up with his rules for reverence.
Section 1. The perfect human nature and the prerequisites for the supreme life space. So, according to Feng, reaching this supreme life space and establishing global justice, it doesn't rely on politics or economics. It relies entirely on individuals adopting 8 very specific, very strict conditions. He uniquely blends this sort of religious reverence, asking us to revere the greatest creator, gods, Buddha, and actually other people too, with a total absence of a competitive mindset. Really notice that rule against losing, winning, or combating. The text also mandates revering nature, being modest, compassionate, staying calm no matter what's happening, conforming to natural laws, and genuinely loving both life and labor. And he doesn't present these 8 conditions as, just friendly suggestions. They are absolutely crucial. The core claim here is that without this perfect human nature, finding personal happiness is basically impossible. Broadly speaking, he argues that mankind would just be doomed to this endless cycle of competition, confrontation, and war. It's a pretty stark warning, and it completely sets the baseline for the rest of his philosophy. All right, Section 2, Nature as a Gift, Viewing the Earth as a Homeland. Let's zoom in on that specific condition of revering nature. The text describes the natural world not as a resource to be used, but as a divine gift, a homeland for our spiritual cultivation. The author writes, every piece of grass, every fistful of soil, every insect, every bird, all are our lifeblood. He lists out these beautiful images, boundless prairies, primeval forests, running streams, framing the whole thing as this unselfish nourishment that triggers infinite imagination. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds. Humanity's destructive hubris and the modern critique. Having established this really pristine spiritual ideal of the natural world, Feng abruptly shifts gears into a grim critique of modern society. He sets up a stark contrast. We've got the perfection of nature's prairies and streams pitted directly against human interventions. Things like dense smoke pouring from industrial chimneys, massive impounding dams blocking up rivers, and the widespread use of pesticides. He frames all of this, these technological and industrial advancements, not as progress at all, but as incredible arrogance. The text then launches into this relentless, almost rhythmic sequence of rhetorical observations pointing directly at humanity's obsession with conquering the Earth. He calls out how much we enjoy power from nuclear stations, our total reliance on refined diesel and gasoline, and even our hope that bioengineering will somehow create giant peaches larger than watermelons. Which leads right to this intense conclusion. Feng definitely doesn't mince words here. The text asks if, by reveling in all this modern industrial civilization, we are actually committing chronic suicide? Are we just digging our own graves to bury ourselves? It is a striking viewpoint that literally equates modern progress with self-destruction. And the critique just keeps going, detailing human greed and its devastating impact on ecosystems. The text specifically calls out the wanton hunting of wild animals, taking ivory, bear's paws, monkey brains, and tiger bones. It criticizes how these tightly woven fishing nets leave fish and shrimp with literally nowhere to hide, and how humans just intend to eat everything, completely fearless of heaven and earth. According to Feng, doing things like destroying mountain forests to build terraces or filling in puddles of water for farmland, those aren't just environmental issues. They are deep spiritual sins. It really makes you think about our everyday impact, because he asks if we are overdrawing the blessing of our offspring, basically stealing from the next life, and accelerating our own destruction by severing that connection to nature. But wait, the critique doesn't even stop at heavy industry or hunting. It extends straight into our modern culture and our luxuries. The author critiques our obsession with spending huge sums of money on famous paintings, getting trapped in the virtual space of computer networks, and praising so-called intelligent masterpiece buildings. The text even calls out things like bathing in neon lights, drinking champagne, and listening to singing stars as these unnatural distractions that pull us away from the real world. Which brings us to this incredibly evocative question right from the source text. How many people can hear nature crying behind us? As we sit there intoxicating ourselves with indoor landscapes and virtual spaces, the author challenges us to consider whether these modern luxuries are entirely blinding us to the profound environmental suffering we're causing.
The culmination of this whole critique is a very heavy accusation against the pursuit of wealth. The text explicitly mentions admiring figures like Bill Gates and chasing fortunes, and connects that directly to discharging factory gas into the atmosphere, allowing fertilizer sewage to seep underground, and pouring hospital viruses into rivers. In the author's view, this isn't just pollution. The text explicitly states that by doing this, humanity is committing crimes. We are murdering people.
Finally, Section 4. Rules for reverence and realigning with nature. Let's look at the solution. So having outlined this massive spiritual and environmental crisis, the text gives us some strict, actionable guidelines to remedy our hubris. Do not wear leather jackets, shoes, or use leather bags. Do not eat or drink wild animal products. Do not raise or catch wild animals. Do not excessively cut down trees or pollute. But then there's that final rule, which I find fascinating. Do not overpraise any human masterpiece. The text actively instructs us to neutralize our own human hubris by just refusing to worship our creations over the creations of nature. So the crucial point is summarized in this final promise from the text. If individuals can actually adhere to these strict rules, if we can genuinely revere and protect nature, the author promises that nature will in turn love us, protect us, and breed us. It's a reciprocal relationship, and it offers a clear pathway back to that supreme life space we talked about at the very beginning of the explainer. Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought to ponder. Based on the stark reality presented in Xu Feng's philosophy, can modern humanity actually surrender its hubris? I mean, can society truly abandon its technological comforts, its virtual networks, and its towering masterpieces to achieve this vision of perfect human nature and earn back the Earth's protection? It's a massive question about the whole trajectory of our civilization, and one that absolutely makes you look at the world outside your window just a little bit differently today. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep seeking understanding, and I'll see you next time.